collection of, what, 25,000 toys, I've always loved things that light up. And there's probably almost 1 or 2% of them, which is many hundreds of pieces which light up, and one can't do justice to them in full daylight. So there's no daylight out there. This is a night shift we're on now, night shift. It's dark, we've just got artificial light, but it means that things like, well, here's a couple of things I showed the other day, but with daylight on it, and see how much better they are when we've got this reduced light. This was one, if you remember, was a little rock which I said people should keep from their front of the house. I'll get it in focus first. When a party's starting, to welcome people in. There's a little word on it saying welcome, but it's coming to focus. So there's a word welcome going down there, and it flashes very, very prettily indeed. So if you had a party and it was in the evening, you put it in the hall, make sure the light was turned off to make sure it did it justice, because in full light, top light, you really don't see that lovely effect. It's a butterfly on a flower with lots of LEDs lighting everything up. So much, much prettier in the dark. I've been aware of this really ever since back in the 1970s when I first started collecting toys. And this one here definitely didn't do justice to it in full daylight. Do you remember this one? It was a bit of this. Much better, but particularly if you waggle it up and down, which kids would do, these things move up and down and you get some wonderful spiral effects. Let me show you. Much more interesting than just holding it like that and keeping it in a circle. You're getting spirals and things, which I think is beautiful. And then persistence of vision gives that bit in the centre, which is nice. So lots to be said, really, for lighted toys, given the proper atmosphere, which means a darkened conditions, and that's what we've got here. So those are the two we've done before, but here's some which are new now. There's this is one of the quietest ones I've ever had, I think. We did actually have this in the website shop for a short time. A friend of mine produced this for Gardner number 10, which is the which in the periodic table is a number for neon. And then it's got piezoelectric in this piece here. Very extraordinary pieces. This bit here, we added to it. It's got a piezoelectric strip just here. And there's a neon bulb here, and when you waggle it, it builds up the voltage. It has to actually produce 100 volts up at the top there, and then the thing will discharge and make little flicks effect. Here we are. Can you see the little lights? It looks like a whole 6 of them. It's actually the same thing, but being produced. I'll do it this way as well. There's loads of little lights. What you can't tell, I can hardly hear it myself, is when it reaches 100 volts, the threshold, it lights, it discharges the neon, but it also makes a little click, 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 click noise, and very, very quiet, close with the ear close to it. You can hear it going tick, 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 tick in time with the neon bulb. So a beautiful thing to be given for an exchange. It's a nice car with lots of information about the element neon, and this working piece of electric what's the stuff called? Clicking, my mind's going bang. Piezoelectric. I've got a couple of very, very nice ones to show in a minute. I'll show another one first. This is another one which I've always wanted to show people, but it's far too weak. And it comes from a company called Shackman's in New York that was very popular in the 1990s when I was first in New York Toy Fair. This is the card it comes from, and it's supposed to show electrostatic for children. What they do, they've got to shuffle around, build up some charge by wearing slippers or socks or something, and then touch the two ends, and it goes flash with a tiny, tiny little flash. It's almost invisible, to be honest. But if we put a little bit of effort into it, this would work. So what I'm supposed to do is rub this like this, and then hold it like that, and that discharges. Well, it's not nearly good enough. So what I'd do is I'd up a thing and put one of these FunFlySticks on it, which gives 20,000 volts, would you believe? This really makes it flash very, very nicely indeed. When I turned it on, there's a Van Graaff belt there, which is now whizzing around. There's now 20,000 volts there. You can't see them, but look at the effect on this. I'll see if I can get this to get the camera. Actually, what I think I might do is I'll put it through my hand like that and see if that will then work. It's an extraordinary effect. I can't see what I'm doing actually. Well, there we are. Let's try that way, like that. So have a go, and I'll see if I touch the bottom. No. It's flashing away. I'm touching it and releasing, touching, teasing. I'm getting a very mild electric shock with it. Just a tingle. It doesn't bother me. But that is really firing very nicely indeed, far better than you can get from shuffling your feet on the carpet and trying to get a bit of static going. So there is neon there, and it's discharging beautifully, but that's 20,000 volts for you. It's better, yeah, 2-1. So it does actually work. I've had that since the 1990s, I think it is, a long time, but I've never had it working so well as that. The last item to show are 2 beautiful fans, which one of my Japanese contacts gave me about 10 years ago, and these are stunning. They're both piezoelectric, which means there's no batteries in there at all. There's just a strip in there, which as you pull it back and forward like that, it stretches and bends on certain molecules, which causes them, or certain cells, which causes them to discharge electricity. So I'll get this into focus, and then we'll see if we can do a bit of flipping. There we are. Now, if I flex this thing back and forward, can you see little tiny lights there? Especially the middle one there, which comes up green every now and then. It's just about there, there we are. And then there's a big outside flash. Now, if I do an action, this is what you're supposed to do with it, an action like that, that's much better, isn't it? Except it's a bit too fast. And the other effect, which I think is lovely, is you do it sideways like that, and it seems to be streaks of light there. The middle one is the strongest one. That's the green, which is in the very center of the firework display. And the other ones are all around it, 2 lots of things, and beautiful effect. Like. And of course, it's meant to be a fan. Like that's what you're supposed to be doing with it, fanning yourself, keeping nice and smooth. And then here's the last one. This is also the same company producing an even more extravagant version of fireworks. Let's go with this one. In focus yet? No. I'm holding very still at the moment, so it shouldn't be discharging. No. Come back a bit. Now I'm bending it back and forward, and it's discharging. There's little tiny LEDs. But of course, it's much better when you actually fan. So I fan towards you like this. You're getting some nice effects. And sideways, I think it's more spectacular because you can get that marvelous effect like that. I love that. Superb bit of technology, that, and quite the best piezoelectric effect I've ever seen in my life. So, wow, I wish we could have got some of this. This is 10 or 15 years ago, probably no longer made, but I wish we could have got some at one time for our shop. It would be a lovely thing to have for the Illusion swap. What do you think? I'll make inquiries and see if there's anyone knows anything about them, if they're still around. Yes, it's winter time. I don't need fanning, but there we are. So lots of fun, and I'm very glad this experiment from the night shift, working in the dark, seems to be working. Do you like it?